everyone, thank you again for joining me tonight. So if you're like me, you're reflective. And what I do typically at the end of the day is evaluate my day. How did my day go? Did I do what I had planned on doing? Did I have a good attitude? Did I notice progress in one area or the other? Did I represent Christ? So this particular day, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I became dissatisfied after my reflection time, just kind of grumbling and complaining and belly aching about my current state. So after my grumbling and complaining, I heard the Spirit of God say, master it, then move. Master it, then move. So essentially, there are areas of my life, although dissatisfied, I haven't become an expert in those areas, which more than likely is preventing me to moving forward in those areas. So what's a master? Typically a master is an expert, someone who's proficient in what they do. They have perfected their craft. If we think about masters or experts, we have Michael Jordan, who was a master in his craft, basketball. There's Tiger Woods, who was a master in his craft, golf, and the list goes on and on. I'm sure you can think of some people in your own lives who you look to as experts or just really have it together. So those people, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, etc., even the people in your lives, what we know is that they didn't become a master overnight. Mastery isn't something that you just wake up and you have. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes sometimes just waiting. So when I think about mastery, what's important is that, number one, we understand that mastery takes time. And there are things that happen when we jump ship, essentially, and we haven't mastered an area and we, prematurely leave that space. For example, in the Bible, I just think of someone who moved ahead of time was the prodigal son. We look at scripture and it shows that the prodigal son was one of two sons who knew that according to custom, he didn't receive his inheritance until his father died, or that was standard. However, this particular son said, you know what, I want my money now. It's my money and I want it now. So he told his father, I don't want to wait. Whatever you have for me, I want it. So his father, he said, okay. And he gave him his inheritance early. So the son went on, the scripture continues to tell us that the son went on and he squandered his wealth. In this day and age, squandering it would look like he bought a bunch of cars, spent money on a lot of women, big houses, all sorts of things. So he did this, and there came a famine, and in the time of famine, because he had wasted his wealth, he was broke. So what he had to do was he had to go to a local person in the area in which he lived, which was far away from his father's house, to ask them, can I work for you? And so he started to work for the local person, and before long he found himself working with pigs and then eating with the pigs. He became a pig, essentially, eating with the pigs, until one day he came to himself and he said, you know what, with my father, even my father's workers, those that work in the work underneath my father, they have a decent meal, they have a decent place to stay, but me as being his son, I essentially have nothing. I'm a pig out here. So what I need to do is to swallow my pride and go to my father and just let him know, I'm not even worthy of being your son, but I am willing to be a worker, because I know that even your workers aren't doing as bad as I'm doing. So scripture goes on to say that the father seen his son afar off, and he rejoiced when he seen his son. He anticipated his return. So in that case, we see there that his son jumped the gun. His son, what he should have done was to be patient and to allow time to pass and to wait until it was time for him to get what he needed, or time for him to get what he essentially was due. So that goes to tell us that when we jump the gun, when we haven't mastered where we are, we haven't waited the allotted amount of time, there are things that can happen that can essentially destroy us. I know there are times when we want something so bad that we don't essentially count up the cost. And what that means is we don't verify what will it take for me to be in this place. So what I'm saying is, although some of you may be in a season where it feels like it's never ending, you've been in this season forever and there's nothing that you feel will change it, my recommendation to you is to evaluate, in this season or in this situation, have I mastered everything I needed to get done? Have I done all that's necessary in order for me to be successful in my next season? Have I made provision? I know some of us want homes and cars and things like that, but what am I currently doing with what I have now? If you're in an apartment, is your apartment clean? Are you paying your bills on time, etc.? And then once we have found ourselves in a place where we're proficient in those areas, we're skilled and we're experts, we are better suited for the next leg of the race, the next phase of our lives in the next season. And when we get there, we'll be ready. So thank you again for watching, and have a great day.